Welcome back. It's been a while and it's finally time for a new updated version of this CMS list filter. You know, the thing with the alt button pre-selected that we did a video on. And now we can do it with the Finsweet Attributes version 2. That makes it a lot easier to set up. Plus it gives us some new options that we couldn't do before. So here you can see the facet count that shows us how many results there are for each filter option. And we can also see that filter options with 0 results can be styled so they look different, or we could even hide them. So there's a lot to jump into, but let's just get into it. First thing we want to do, as always, is we want to add the script tag. So let's go to finsweet.com/attributes and find the list filter solution. And then we have the first step, add the script into the head tag of the project. We copy this and we add it in the head tag of the project. This is one of the things that they updated, so it's a bit different than before, that we have just one script that has all of the attributes, but it only loads the one that you use by adding these attributes to the script tag. So if you use other Finsweet attributes on the same page, you don't have to copy the entire script, but you just add more of these attributes. Now we just need the list one. So that's fine. We hit save. And that's the first step. Just to give you a demo of what we have a collection list with items in here. And inside of that, we also have a nested collection list that shows some other items here. These are the tags, this theme here, that is a single reference field to the theme collection. So we have two different references for each of these. This is what we want to filter on. Next step is that we need a form. So we can use quick find to add a form in here. Just gonna move it down. And then I'm gonna delete everything inside of the form. So we just get this empty white box. Then I'm gonna add a text because we want to call this the themes. And then we also want another filter for the tags after that. Okay. So for the themes, it's a reference. So we want a collection list. We want this collection list to be the themes. Yeah, we have 5 different themes. That looks correct. Inside of that, we can then add a radio button. That will give us a radio button style filter where one of the options can be selected at the time, which is exactly what I want here. This text here, let's link that to the name of the theme so we get the names here. And let's go the extra mile and sort these alphabetically. So now we have the filters in here and the form block. Let's jump back to Finsweet website. We're doing the standard filtered list. The dynamic filtered list is something completely different. That calls for another video, so I'm not gonna go there. We have a few required attributes. The first one is on the actual collection list. You can open these up if you want to read more or see which exact element you need to add this attribute on. But if you already know this stuff, you can actually just click here to copy the text. So that was going to be added on the collection list. So if I click the gap here, I've selected the collection list. We can add the custom attribute and the value of the attribute. Amazing. Next up, filters. This defines the Webflow form element that contains all the filter UI elements. Here, if you open it up, you can see you have to add it on the form element, not the form block. An important distinction. So let's copy this again. Go to the form, not the form block, but the actual form element. Yes, okay. Copy, paste, good. Next up, we have the more interesting stuff, the field identifiers. So this is what will categorize each of the text bits that we want to compare for the filter to work. So you can see here, this is one of the things that's slightly different in this new version. We added to the actual radio button element before we added it to the text label. Let's copy this attribute and then we click the actual radio button, so the little circle. And we go over here and add the custom attribute. And then the value here is the identifier. So we can call these themes because that's what they are. And then we also add it to the matching element inside of the collection item. So here we can add it to the text or the paragraph. This is what I want to match up with this one. So we give this the exact same. Did I go plural? I went plural. Yes. Okay. So it has to be the same. Great. that's the next thing that's required when you use checkboxes or radio buttons, which we are doing in this video, that you need to have an attribute that tells Finsweet attribute what value to compare. So we can copy this attribute, list value, and then here, of course, we want it to be dynamic, so we can link this to the name again. One of the cool things about this is that it actually allows you to have a different visible name than the name you compare behind the scenes, which can be useful in some cases. So this should actually give us a functional filter. Let's do a quick test. So I'm gonna publish. There we go. We have the most boring and basic version of the filter working, and that is great, but we're not there yet, so let's keep going. Next up is that I also want to have the all button. That's what the whole video is about, right? Next to this collection list, or right before it, we add another radio button. So this one is called radio 2, and I want to call it all. First thing we need to do is we need to make sure that these radios are in the same group. So out here in the options, they have a name. So I'm just going to call them themes. And then also for this new one, I'm going to call it themes. So that will just be to actually get the radio buttons to be in the same group. Then this radio button needs to have the same attribute here. So this image list themes. Yes, good. So now Finsweet also knows that these two are the same. I want it to be checked by default. So then again, native HTML, I add checked, and we can see that it's now checked. Then we also need the list value attribute here on the all button. So I'm going to add that, but I'm going to leave the value empty. And if you dive into the Finsweet documentation, you can see right here, they have an optional add-on for the filter all button, where they say that you should leave the value empty for the all button. That's a neat little update. That means that we don't need to add this. We actually still have it from the old version where we had actually a text that would say all inside of each element. We can delete that. We don't need it anymore. Cool. Okay, let's publish just to check once more. Okay, all is selected and we can filter and we can go all. So that is the basic version of it. But let's style it to make it a bit nicer. So I'm gonna go here on this, start with the all button. Let's do filter radio item. Okay. So first off, I want a bit of padding on all sides. I'm also gonna hide the radio just because we don't actually need it. Here for the styling, just gonna add like some border radius, bit of a border color there. Let's also do a hover state where we just get like a 20% white color. Cool. I'm not going to focus too much on the styling here, just to make it a bit nicer. Now I'm going to add that same class to each of these and also hide the radio button. Then I want actually to wrap the radio item and the collection list in the same wrapper. And here I want to have like a flex layout with a gap. We go this way and we wrap down 0.25 rem, space between, maybe 2.5 is fine. To get these two kind of wrap in the same element, I'm gonna apply display contents. I'm gonna create a new utility class for that. And down here in the property, I'm gonna say display contents. I'm going to apply that to the collection list wrapper and to the collection list itself. So that puts these in the same like flex layout. So if you go to smaller screens, you'll see that they wrap together, even though the all button is in a collection list. We see we have a bit of extra gap here vertically. That is actually not the gap, but because there's some default styling here, margin. So on the radio item, just make sure to put margin 0 on the bottom, and then they should wrap nicely as if in a cute little grid. Now for the active class. Down here, we can actually set a specific active class name, but I don't feel the need to have my own name for that. So I'm just going to use the default is list active. It's the default active class name. So on this all button here, I'm gonna add that combo class is list active, and let's say that that is something that changes the color of this to make it look exactly like that. So I just swap the colors when it's active. Let's publish and check. Oh, perfect. If that's all you needed, you can stop the video now, but let's continue going and make it better. It's actually not keyboard navigable. Maybe I should change how I'm doing this to make it more keyboard friendly. Actually, yeah, it's not a good idea to hide the radio button entirely, because then keyboard users can't navigate it. Let's not screw them over. But let's instead do a little trick here. So I'm gonna call this filter radio button, I guess. I'm gonna set appearance none. I haven't actually done this yet, so I don't know if it works, but let's try it out. Yeah, I'm gonna do relative on the radio item, then the radio button. I'm gonna do absolute and cover here. And then the margin, I can need to reset that to 0. Okay, that looks correct. The radius, I wanted to inherit. That's gonna matter for the focus keyboard. I'm just gonna add a nice outline here, maybe in the accent color. And here, fill the radio button. Yes, okay. Yeah, that was a little extra step that I didn't think about. That's perfect. That looks pretty good. Keyboard users rejoice everywhere. Okay, mouse users, we want to see the pointer, so let's also add the pointer. Keep in mind this actually covers the text, so for some reason you wanted the text to select the text. I only have to do it over here. Let's move on to the next thing. So now we are ready to add the text. I'm just gonna add a new collection list here. This one is gonna reference the tags. We have more of these, nine pieces, and inside of that, we're gonna not do a radio, but do a checkbox. Okay, we have the checkbox here, same principle. So let's call this like the field we used to. We use the same class. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. This. Oh, I didn't name it. But for this, since we don't need to mix to like the all button, we can just apply the class to the collection list. Again here. We have these recently modified classes. That's amazing. It's gonna make our life so much easier. Also, this text here, we want it to be dynamic. Use the name. Maybe we want the list to be not filtered, sorted alphabetically. That's already half the work done. Okay, but we need the same kind of attributes. The list field. I'm gonna call tags. We match that up to the text inside of the collection list. I call it tags. And then this one, since it's a checkbox, we also need the list value. I'm gonna copy it from here, and that one should be dynamic. So now we have the tags. Let's publish once more, and then we'll do the facet counts, and then I promise you can go outside and touch grass. Cool. Okay. This is working great. These are also working great. But we can't see like which combinations will have 0 result. Like a space dojo, is that a thing? No, apparently not. So let's fade out the ones with 0 result. Back on the page here. Also, actually, if you don't want to scroll too much, you can open the flashcard. So this is more when you've done it a few times, you can use this. What do we need here? We need the facet count. Results count. No, that's not what we want. We want the facet. Yes, this one. Facet count. Results is for the entire folder, so that's a different thing. Here we can just add it to, so we can take this attribute. So inside of this item, we can add a text block, and we can do like a space and write the number like this. Oh, wait, I didn't put it inside. Yes, there we go. There we go. And then maybe here, I just do flex to put them next to each other. Yes, so we add the text in here. And I can even like make a span inside of that, just with the number. And then we can add the attribute to this thing right here. So list element facet count. So that should be fine, and we can use the same one in here. Inside here. We just added the facet counts to both of these. So we added just the text element, the span inside that has the facet count attribute. You can of course do it in any way you want. The important part is just that some element has this attribute. Let's not preview this and just do the other thing as well. Empty filters. There we go. Hide or style filters with no expected results. So you can either put this attribute on any parent of the checkbox or the radio, or you can do this attribute that will add the isList empty facet class to the element. I'm gonna do add class. If I wanted to hide it, I would put this on the item. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna put it on the item anyways. Add class. And the reason why it's nice to have it on the item is, okay, and then we copy the name of the class. We have to copy this old school style. Because if I wanted to hide this and I'm using gap, then I want to actually hide the entire item. Otherwise I'll have a double gap. Now I'm just going to put this class here. I'm going to do maybe fade them down to 20% and do a point events none. So you can't click them. No, actually, let's not do that, because there may be some cases where you do want to click an element with 0 results if it's already clicked and it has 0 results. So you need to unclick it. So let's not do that. So we do have both things working perfectly. Amazing. So you can see here is my point with the other thing that I said, that we don't want point events none, or to actually hide the elements entirely if we don't have the tags. If you have the tags, it's fine. But if you don't have the tags, I could say industrial, and then I could go like here, and then I would have 0 results, and I couldn't uncheck this. So that would leave me like a bit stuck. Can we have the facet count inside of all? Okay, we can't have the facet count in the all button. It's just a limitation of the current implementation. Maybe Finsweet will add it one day, but for now, we just leave it out. So that was it. Oh my god, 32 minutes. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing. I think I may just do another take and then use that one instead. But if I decide to use this, then now you know. This was the first take. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, let me know. Or if there's anything specific you want to see. Also using other Finsweet attributes. I haven't tried a lot of them out yet, but I have a lot of the old ones, but not the new ones. So if there's something you're curious to know, maybe I'm gonna do a video on it. Peace.